Hey everyone. On the table today we got a Harbor Freight Central Pneumatic 20 ounce high volume low pressure gravity feed spray gun. I'm gonna paint the frame on my Dodge, and I figured rather than buying rattle cans I'd buy bulk paint and use one of these. It's $10, or I got it for $10 with a coupon. And I'm going to do a little how-to and review. I just got it out of the box and got it cleaned up. There's an assembly lube on everything, so you want to take everything apart. It's pretty well spelled out on this card in English and Spanish. So take everything apart, clean the oil out of it, put it back together. And my first gripe so far, I don't have the fitting right here, but I took the fitting out that was in here. I don't know what the hell it was. It looked like it was some sort of compression tube fitting, like an air brake fitting. But I don't have anything that fits on that. I don't really know what it is or why it was there. I don't know why they didn't just give you one of these, because, well, everybody has an air compressor with a quick connect like that. So it was not pipe thread in here. Again, it was a mystery thread, Harbor Freight thread probably, I don't know. So I luckily had a 1/4 inch NPT tap, so I ran it in there. The pot metal cut very nicely with my nice sharp tap. Threaded that in a little bit, and then I put some Teflon tape, 2 wraps of Teflon tape on there. When you're wrapping the Teflon tape, make sure to wrap it in the opposite direction of how you screw it in, so that loose end where you break the tape off, when you're screwing the fitting in clockwise, you don't want that end going in and getting jammed up and kind of bunching. You want the loose end to be the other way, so when you're screwing it in clockwise, the tape doesn't jam up. And also leave the last thread or two of pipe thread fittings free of tape or pipe dope if you use that, so it doesn't risk contaminating, getting a piece of a particle in there anywhere, which will clog up your gun. Anyway, so I got that modified. So I'm going to fire up my compressor, set it to, it says 70 psi maximum in here, so I'll set it to somewhere around there. I'm going to guess because the gauge on my compressor does not work that well. So let's see what it does. Okay, first impressions. Keep in mind I've never used one of these guns before. So all I did, I have the air control, that knob there, all the way open. Now I started with the paint control, this knob here, closed, and I just did some practice strokes on that barrel, and I kept pulling the trigger and opening this screw up until I got a nice amount of paint coming out. And it works pretty good. It lays on paint in a much finer coat than Rust-Oleum. This is Rust-Oleum paint, than the Rust-Oleum spray can. So it's different from what I'm used to, but I'm sure it lays in a nice thin coat so it doesn't glob it up and it doesn't drip or anything. The only thing is, I don't know how you're supposed to fill that canister. I guess you're supposed to have a small can of paint that you can easily hold, or something with a spout on it. Because, you know, I got this gallon here, so I was just dunking this can in there and pouring it in, and I held the gun in between my knees. It was sort of a pain, but whatever. Here's the first coat of some rusty metal primer. You can see it's nice and even. So, I mean, so far it seems to be working pretty good. So I'm just going to do another, maybe 2 coats of primer, because it lays it on really nice and thin. Then I'll clean it out and go to the black paint. So on the air side of things, this is my compressor. It's a 3 horsepower, 120 volt, let's see, 8.6 standard cubic feet per minute at 40 psi. And this compressor is having no problem keeping up with this air gun. It's a twin cylinder. I have it regulated. I don't really know what I have it regulated to, because that gauge, when the tank is empty, reads 40 psi, so I won't even tell you what pressure I'm at. So anyway, I just did the first coat of black here. The black Rust-Oleum paint, if any of you guys are going to be using Rust-Oleum, it does need to be thinned with some acetone. For this reservoir, I put in, oh, I don't know, a glug. I didn't put in too much. I wanted to go on as thick as possible. And it's working pretty well. So I'll give you an idea of how it lays down paint. So this is my primered frame rail. So you can see, you can see how it lays on really thin, which is unusual to me because I'm used to the spray cans. So of course I'll spray it this direction, then I'll come from the other side, spray the other direction, and give it a good couple coats. If any of you guys are going to critique my spraying technique, don't, because I'm no painter. This is just a frame. But see, it lays on there pretty nice. So I'm all done using this gun for the day, and I cleaned it out and everything. You take this off, you take that out, you pull the pin out, clean everything out. A little tedious, you end up using a lot of rags, but that's what you got to do. And I think it's a pretty good spray gun. I mean, like I said, I'm no body work guy. I'm not a painter either, but I really don't see how this has any flaws whatsoever. It's kind of ugly. I don't know why it's purple, but it works just fine. It lays down paint really well. It has a nice amount of adjustment to it. I mean, you got this knob here to adjust whether it's a flat or a round spray pattern, and it just worked just fine for my purposes. And I wouldn't hesitate to use this to paint paint some sheet metal stuff, like on a tractor or something. It might even work well for a car. I don't know. Car guys would probably disagree with me because they have to have perfect everything. But yeah, everything worked great. If you're using the Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer, that didn't need any thinning at all, but the black definitely did need some thinning with acetone to allow it to come out smoothly. You just got to play with it, put in just a little bit at a time, slosh it around, and test it on a board or a piece of metal. So that's about it. I mean, for $10 for what I paid for it, I think it's $15 normally. It's definitely worth it, because anywhere else a good paint gun is what, $50, $100, even more. I really don't know, but I think it works just fine. So, got a comment, got a thought? Leave it down below. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. And hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And thanks for watching, and as always, come back for more.